वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। सिख चैनल के प्यारे दर्शकों, सिख चैनल वालों आप जी का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। सरदूल सिंह मरवा वालों आप जी ਨੂੰ जीव आया। हमेशा की तरह सिख चैनल कोशिश करता है कि आप जी के लिए कोई नवी चीज़, कोई नवा प्रोग्राम ਜਾਂ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਹੋਵੇ, ਉਹਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਉਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਹੋਈਏ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਮ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਇਸ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਉਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਇਫੈਕਟ ਪੈਂਦਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਨਾਰਦਰਨ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹੈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨੁਮਾਇੰਦੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਏ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸੋ ਆਓ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਦਈਏ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। Ladies and gentlemen, we are today joined by Northern Railway, their representatives. Three of them here today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. On my immediate left, Serco Singh, who is the train driver for the Northern Railways, and Nikki Hosty, who is the HR, Human Resources representative. And sitting next to Nikki is Stephen Bradley, who's the operations, how the whole thing is operated by the Northern Railways. Again, welcome to the Sikh Channel. Thank you. Thanks for coming to join us today and tell us how the Northern Railways work. Northern Railway took the franchise in December 2004 and nearly have 5,000 employees and covers about 500 stations. And Northern Railways plays a vital role in the northern of England by connecting thousands of people to their work, to education, to leisure, whatever takes them, wherever it takes them from A to B. So, Northern Railway. If I could start with you, Sarjeet, if you wanted to tell our Sikh Channel viewers in Punjabi, if you want to, or in English, and how you became a driver for the Northern Railways. I mean, was there any problems or what hurdles you actually had to go through to become a train driver? I don't think there's many Sikh train drivers in the UK.
No, there's ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹਾਂ। ਮੈਂ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ 1978 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੀ। ਮੈਂ ਵੈਸੇ ਹੀ ਕੰਮ ਤੋਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਵਿਹਲਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਚਿੱਠੀ ਪਾਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅਕਨੌਲਜ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆ। ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਲਈ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਠੀਕ ਲੱਗੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਈਕੋਮੈਟ੍ਰਿਕ ਟੈਸਟ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤਾ। ਸਾਈਕੋਮੈਟ੍ਰਿਕ ਟੈਸਟ ਪਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਡੀਕਲ ਹੋਈ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤੀ। ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਲਈ ਗਏ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਗਏ ਜਾਂ ਜਸਟ ਟੂ ਵਰਕ ਇਨ ਦ ਰੇਲਵੇ? ਨਹੀਂ, ਜਸਟ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਡਰਾਈਵਰ। ਤੇ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੰਟੈਂਸ ਸੀਗੀ। ਅੱਛਾ। ਤੇ ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕਦੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਟੈਂਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਪਹਿਲੀ ਦਫਾ ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਬੈਠਾ। Did you prepare for it? ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ। You had to prepare for the interview. ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਪ੍ਰੈਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਮੇਰੀ ਪ੍ਰੈਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਗਿਆ ਵਾ। ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਬੈਠਾ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੈਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਹੈਗੀ, ਪਰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੋਈ ਕਹਿ ਲਓ ਤੇ ਮਾਲਕ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਥ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ successful interview the which I'll
come back to you there because that's a very vital point. If I take Nikki on this from the HR point of view, where Sergi is saying when he went for the interview it's quite intensive, there's psychometric testing and there was all sorts. I asked him if there was a preparation which he did. He said he did do some preparations, but that preparation was nothing as far as the interview. He went through it. I mean, those interviews are quite intense and quite difficult. And how I mean, anybody with the knowledge can get through, where Sergi probably didn't work in the railways. I mean, he went through. And now, can you just simply tell us about that?
Yeah, no problem. Well, with the recruitment process from start to finish, basically you fill out an online application form via the internet, and then that's shortlisted, and then you're interviewed by a number of Northern managers. Then if you're successful to be shortlisted at interview stage, you're then sent for a psychometric assessment. Now, the psychometric assessment is developed by the Rail Safety Standards Board because it's a safety critical environment. There's lots of safety issues. So we need to ensure that there's a psychometric test to make sure we're putting the right 3 people through to become a trained driver. So in the psychometric test, there's things like concentration
quite difficult, though, aren't they?
Yes. But what we do is we provide practice materials prior to the day.
Okay.
So you kind of get a flavour for what the day will bring.
Right.
Yeah. And so then it's a full day's assessment.
Right.
At the assessment centre.
Yes.
So it's totally independent. And then if you pass that, then there's a medical.
Right. Well, that's naturally have to be done, yes.
Yeah, and then after that there's training, driver training, and that lasts from 9 months to 1 year.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a bit more about that. I just want to come to Stephen. About the history of Northern Railways. I mean, I remember it was when it was British Rail, and that was it.
Yes.
Then obviously, you know, it was broken down to various, I mean, there's loads of companies, and the Northern Railway obviously took the franchise in 2004,
Yes.
in December. And I mean, what is the history in the Northern Railways? I mean, how big the company is? I mean, I know there's 5,000 employees.
Yep.
And can you just take us through on that?
Yeah, Northern Trains was, or Northern Rail should I say, was brought together in 2004. It was a joint venture by Serco and our sister company Abellio.
Right.
They also have ownership of Merseyrail over in Liverpool, which is on a 25-year franchise.
Right.
When they took our franchise in 2004, initially it was till September 2013. We've just had another extension till April 2014, which is really good news for our organisation. Like you said earlier on, we have nearly 5,000 employees. We currently have 463 stations that we manage, but our trains call at over 500 stations.
Right.
Just to put it in size-wise, we are the largest train operating company in the UK. So
Right.
we have about 20% of the rail infrastructure.
So your franchise, how long is it? 15 years, 20 years? I don't know.
8 years, 3/4 was the original one. It's just been extended to April 2014, and then obviously we'll rebid again
Right,
for
okay.
to take the franchise on again.
You would think it's a good idea when it's broken down from British Rail into these different franchises, and you have to bid at every so often?
Well, I never worked on the British Rail. I can only talk about it from a privatised privatised aspect. I think what you find is it drives a lot more investment within the rail industry for the way it does now. It drives good competition, which ultimately keeps prices down for the rail people and for the travelling. And when you look at Northern Rail, we operate 2,500 trains a day, and our average train ticket is only £2.30.
Okay.
So when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, for a local operator, we do really, really well.
Can I just ask you, where actually, when you say Northern is a big area,
Yes.
where does he actually operate into which areas?
Okay, we have 2 areas, what we call Area West, which is basically Liverpool, Manchester, Lancs and Cumbria.
Right.
And then we have Area East and North, which is like your Leeds, up to Newcastle, York area.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
we'll go far down to Stoke, and
Okay.
as far up as Newcastle and to that end.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. It still covers quite a vast area. Right.
Yes.
Okay, coming back to you, then obviously Stephen mentioned about the area you cover, and what constraints, if any, you wear in the turban, and with the star, that's what we like to call it, not the turban, because there are a number of other religions say they wear turbans, but Sikhs, to the star is a distinct symbol for us. And you always wore the star, or you had just recently, or is there any constraint, any problems in the railways?
No, I never ever encountered any problem since the day I joined. Regards to the star turban, I always wore a turban, from my childhood up to present, and never had any problem. Only sometime, yes, passengers, when they see a Sikh driver in the front cab, that the train is approaching to the station, and you can see the faces, you can read them, it's surprising, that there's a Sikh driver in the front cab.
How long have you been driving?
I've been 35 years now.
For Northern Rail? No, you just as a driver.
I started as a British Rail, and then the privatisation kicked in. Then I ended up with the Northern. It is, yes, 35 years I spent, Initially, when I joined, to be quite honest, I know I discussed earlier on with on the introduction, says, the interview was are intense, the tests are intense, but when I joined throughout my training and everything, got derailed now.
But is it an easy job? Is it like driving a car?
No, it is. The train itself is very easy, but the rules and regulation that governs the movement of the train is very intense. Yes, you need to be spot on. You need to be quick on decision making. For instance, you need to be. You are the forefront, and we are the person as a train driver. We tell the conductor what has taken place, how long we're going to be here, and etc., etc.
Right.
And it is a very intense. Yeah, you're under the pressure then at that time. Yeah.
Is there any other Sikhs you know who drive trains?
Not that I'm aware of, no. In the whole of the northeastern region, I'm the only one with the turban.
Right.
In the British Rail days, when I used to come to the Birmingham, I used to bring the trains to the Birmingham up to here, local haul train, diesel engine and HSTs.
Right.
When I came, there was another Sikh driver based here in the Birmingham area.
Right.
I used to meet up with him, and he has a different route from Birmingham. He used to go down Euston and that way.
I saw a few guards as such.
Yes.
I don't personally recall any driver as such. I mean, well done. Congratulations on that.
That's the only Sikh driver in my career I came across. And other than that, I'm the only other Sikh driver. We have taken a recruitment since the Northern come in. We got, I believe, we got 2 Muslim drivers now. One is based at Sheffield and one is based in Skipton.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Nikki, on the diversity side, where Sergi is obviously talking about, I mean, as I said, I've been here all my life. I haven't seen many Sikh. I have travelled on train quite a lot and seen few guards, but not as many drivers. Obviously, it's the first one I have come across. From a diversity point of view, from a your company, obviously we can't talk about any other company. I mean, obviously you have that policy in place.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what steps are you taking, if any, to encourage people from the ethnic minority, not only the Sikhs, but ethnic minorities at large?
Well, in 2009, I was asked to look at our workforce statistics and introduce a workforce that's representative of our customer base. And demographically, our customer base is 7% of black and minority ethnic.
Right.
So, in respective customers. So, at that time, we only had 2% of our workforce which were from a black and minority ethnic origin.
Yeah.
So what we've tried to do is encourage applications in order that we can increase the workforce statistic.
Right.
And at the moment we're 2.9%, just under 3%.
Right.
So we're making progress in the right direction. But really what we're doing is asking yourselves to basically promote.
What is your target, Nikki?
Our target is for a gradual increase. So at the moment, at the end of this year, it's 3% our target.
Right. Okay.
So we're nearly there. But obviously, what we just want to do is to promote what job opportunities we have, because we don't just have driver opportunities.
Of course. Yeah.
We have head office functions, so that's finance, IT, commercial. And then we have...
I mean, we are not only talking about the ethnic, we're obviously talking about gender, female, numbers need to come up as well.
Yeah, it's a male-dominated workforce. And then from a female perspective, we've only got 13% of our workforce that's female.
Is there any female drivers?
There is, yes.
Right,
yes,
okay.
We've recently done a TV programme in Leeds for a female train driver. But again, it's underrepresented. So what we want to do is, like shows like today, is to promote what job opportunities we've got available. Come onto our Northern Rail website and apply, because we welcome applications. Right.
I know when people say, like, we are trying to encourage the ethnic minorities or the female population of UK, there are a number of companies who say that, right? Are you simply, sitting on your laurels to say, people apply, or what other steps are you taking through advertisements or anything else to promote? I mean, obviously, jobs are scarce anyway.
Yeah. We've recently introduced a community ambassador scheme,
right,
which is happening in the Northwest. and basically they sit at the heart of the communities in the likes of Rochdale and Blackburn, and basically the aim of those community ambassadors is to promote rail travel, but also to promote careers within Northern Rail as well.
Right.
And they really sit at the heart of that community. We've also attended neighbourhood forums to explain a bit about Northern and what fantastic benefits we offer. And we've also attended family events as well.
Right, okay.
Again, where children can come along. We've got colouring books so that the children can be entertained,
right, yeah.
While the parents apply online. So it's something that we really encourage.
You're very actively involved in trying to do these things, yes?
Do you want to add how, do you want to talk about the forum? Or?
Yes, but the forum is, you know, since we formed the forum, it's very successful. And also, not only that, we've gone into the Northern Rail was sponsoring the Manchester Mela.
Okay.
As well the Bradford Mela, who've been the Northern been sponsoring for nearly 2 years, for over 2 years for the Bradford Mela, and we go, and also we are trying to promote, you know, by visiting the gurdwaras, asking the temple, you know, to give us a chance and do the promotion work on the temple ground, you know, where the people can come and ask us, you know, any question and how to apply. We give them the guidance and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Stephen, from the operations side, what do you cover in your role? You know, does it complement these guys on that?
It does. Specifically within my role, I look after train stations.
Right.
So within my area, I have 150 stations. I have a management team of 10 who looks after them stations on my behalf, so to speak, and about 300 employees. So we'll cover all aspects of what is a station and retail environment, so all around customer service, selling tickets, the journey for our passengers. But on the wider operational aspect, obviously you're looking at the movement of the train, like we discussed earlier on with the conductor and the train drivers as well. So I'm more of the frontline element.
Right, okay. So when you say the front line, obviously when the public approaches, because publics obviously like to complain about anything or everything, right? And you know, you complain. So how do you deal with these any complaints coming from the public?
It depends. We can do it from different elements, really. We have our own customer relations department, so they can contact us via there. What we do as a team is we run community days. So what we will do is, if we have a problem area where we know we have a lot of overcrowding or several complaints for similar issues, we will get a large management team down from different areas within Northern Rail, not only to promote the company, but just to talk around the issues that occurs within that area for them. And again, like Nikki said before, with the community ambassadors, that obviously gives us that link in with the local communities as well, which really helps to just break down those barriers a little bit more and just obviously get people to understand a little bit more about Northern Rail and what we do.
Is there a forum, like community forum type thing? I know you said something on that, where public, I mean, anybody comes in, you know, to say, well, you participate in that kind of activity?
As I say, what we do is more of a targeted community day, kind, within my area anyway, where we'll advertise for people to come in and have a chat with us and have a talk to us. Nikki, through her team and with the recruitment team, will run like a recruitment drive within certain areas where we'll get some operational managers to come down and obviously just discuss with people how to get onto the railway and the benefits that brings to them.
Right. I think maybe that for you, Nikki, the disability side of the railways, which, I mean, more and more we just seen the Paralympics, right? Obviously it was very successful, and I think, you know, in this country, I know the disability are looked at very positively, but from the Northern Railways point of view, what's the policy, or how do you tackle that?
Yeah, we've signed to the Disability 2 ticks. And basically what that means is anybody who meets the minimum criteria for any job, they will be guaranteed an interview. So
do you have many people working in your company?
Yeah, at the moment we've got very few people who want to tell us that they're registered disabled.
Right.
Some people may have a disability but they don't really want to tell us.
Right.
For those who want to tell us, then we can record it, but it's something that's optional for them to tell us if they're...
I think most companies guarantee interview anyway, you know. Once they guarantee the interview, if that all fits, you know, like, do you take any concessions to go sort of like out of the way to trying to recruit those guys?
I'll use an example. For example, train drivers have to go through rigorous medical assessments.
Right.
And basically, it's vision, hearing, and general health. If they fail one of those areas, we try and accommodate them as we see fit. So at the moment, we've got train drivers who fail the hearing, for example. It's not the end of the line there.
Right.
What we do is we put something in place where we will fund hearing aids.
Okay.
So it's not your standard NHS hearing aid, it's a special hearing aid that's suitable for you in an occupational environment. So what we do is, if you're a train driver and you fail your medical, we'll try and put something in place.
And obviously go with the eyesight as well.
Yeah, that's right. But the paramount importance is the safety of our customers and also our employees. So as long as those criteria are met, then we can find some alternatives.
So, Gigi, you want to take us a bit more into what you were saying, right, about the star, the turban, right? Okay, we like to actually emphasize on that, because you should probably been watching Sikh Channel in the recent years, months. We had the problem at the airports.
Yes.
You know, people who was taken to one side, take their turban off, and then being examined and things like that, right? Obviously, from the safety point. Anything like that, or any hindrance as far as the star is concerned?
Not to my knowledge, up to present, to be quite honest. In my 35 years career, I have never ever encountered any problem with the regards. It's not just the work environment, it regards my work colleagues as well. Right. They've accepted me with open arms, you know, and I go sit with my colleagues, we have a laugh and joke. There's nothing, no racial issues ever taken with me as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've been accepted brilliantly within the company so far. But the only obstacle I have come across is not for myself, but the freight companies. Now I work for the passenger side. Now freight companies is a hard at area.
Okay.
Now their train drivers, when they taking, for instance, I'll give you one example. When they take the coal to the power station, and it's a hard at area, and the drivers are well, it's mandatory. They must wear it hard hat area. So I was thinking, now if a Sikh driver wants to work for the freight company, and he has to do that job, in how he's going to come across. And then I was told, you know, the law with the construction company, where the Sikhs been exempted to wear from it, and that same law applies on the freight side as well.
Right.
But like I say, I have never came across any Sikh driver so far.
Right.
And I'd like to see this.
That is a very good point you raised there, because on the construction company we've had, I mean, there's a number of Sikhs who built most of Birmingham and amongst other cities, right? But that is an issue there, right? And if that issue, Nikki, came up, obviously you were on the passenger side, do you do any freight trains as well?
No.
Your company don't do?
No, we don't do freight.
Right.
No, we're passenger.
Okay, so if that ever, sorry, obviously, because it's hard to answer for you, but if there was...
Yeah, if there is a Sikh driver, for instance, we would like to apply for the freight company, and they will, you know, I mean, I don't know, how will they reacted during the interview? I mean, will they bring it up? Does they have to remove the turban and wear the hard hat area, or whether they'll say he's exempted because Sikhs are exempted? We are exempted from, you know, riding a motorbike as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, we don't have to keep on repeating the First and Second World Wars, the Sikhs fought. I mean, the Sikhs still fight in the army with the turbans on. Obviously, it's far dangerous than driving a train, going through the bombs and, and tanks and everything else. Obviously, that is a very good point actually you raised there. Anything else?
You know, no, there's nothing. That's like I say, you know, I mean, you know, during the British Rail, I mean, I travel length and breadth of the country with my job. Like, you know, I used to go London, Birmingham. You know, this was up north was the Newcastle, my territory. Right. And people, like I say, they used to surprise to see the Sikh driver in the front cab. You know, and that is. But until you come off the locomotive or the driving cab, and the people, you know, some people, you know, the one or two, they came and, you know, congratulated me for, you know, to be...
Is there any special qualification required for this?
Not really, no. As long as, you know, ability, to understanding and. Like I say, when you're under the pressure,
basic education is needed.
Basic education, I would recommend, GCSE is a minimum at least, But
until the government changes again or something.
Until it changes again, but other than that, it's quite common because the training, the Northern Rail put you through, is everything is there for you. But you need to have a good basic understanding about the certain scientific things on the railway itself.
Of course, yes.
We don't scrutinise qualifications at the application stage. It's more about the content of your application form.
Right.
And then as the psychometric assessment comes in, it tests your concentration levels.
Right. So there must be some basic requirement for any job, isn't it?
It's more the psychometric. It's the application form itself will advise us of the standard of the way that you put in your answers across.
Right.
Need
Okay.
full answers. And then once we've got those full answers, you go to the interview stage. We'll ask you some questions there, and then the psychometric assessment. So it's no real, as long as you've at the psychometric assessment, they also look at your reading, your writing element as well.
No.
So no real qualifications as such are needed for train driver.
Right. Okay.
But however, for managerial roles, if you apply for a finance manager, they would expect specific qualifications for that.
So there's a scope for me because I work in finances.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not looking for a job. Stephen, is there any further projects or anything else within your company that you are looking at to attract the future employees?
I think what we do now, which is really well, is we get a lot of local schools involved within the rail organisation now, because it brings them in the local community involved in the railway. B, it gives them a bit of chance to get a bit of ownership. So what you'll find is, like, we suffer from quite heavy vandalism at some locations. If you get a local school
people
involved,
breaks and doing
different things, to be honest.
And vandalism actually in the recent years been colossal, hasn't it?
It's on a decline, thankfully. What you find, what we've done is we've got a lot of local schools involved, so they'll come put artwork up on stations, and what you find is because it's their station, they take ownership of it. But what that then does is it gives them that first interface with the rail industry. So what you hope for then is, as the years progress and they go through school and college and potentially university, they think, well, actually, I remember when I was 9, 10, 11, doing some work with the rail industry, and I wouldn't mind doing that as a job. Now, for myself, I started 12 years ago, and it literally was a summer job. So it's been a long summer. So, but you can work through.
You're in your summer now.
Definitely a long summer. But I started as station staff, so you can work through your career, so you can literally make a career out of the rail industry. It's not about, obviously, you're happy doing train driving, you've done 34 years, which is fantastic. Myself, I started as station staff, and you just work yourself up. So the rail industry can be as big as you want it to be.
Right. I was only watching the news, I think, very recently, where there's crossing levels. I mean, there's always coming up, and there's always accidents, and people always try to educate, but that still goes on, right? I mean, I think in this country there's not that many level crossings. When you travel across the world and look, there are more level crossings than in other countries than here.
Yes.
But that problem still exists, though, doesn't it?
It does, and thankfully the government have announced only today quite a large investment into taking a lot of level crossings out.
Right.
So what you have is, although it's infrastructure, which is technically Network Rail rather than us as a train operating company, it's their responsibility around it. But obviously, as an industry, we all take a quite a constructive role in how we deal with it. But as I say, the government today have announced a large funding pot, so that will take out a lot of level crossings and improve what we currently have as well.
I think, can I just ask you, because I know what level crossing is, can you try to clarify to our audience what actually level crossing is?
Okay.
Because sometimes there's a jargon of any industry, right? And that's why I brought it in.
Okay.
If you could just simply explain to the audience, right, what is a level crossing?
Okay, a level crossing in the basic possible terms is when a road or a path or a walkway interfaces with the rail.
Right.
So obviously, to stop people just walking across a track, a live track, obviously there's barriers and other systems put in place to advise people there's a train coming. Now, what will surprise a lot of people, and I think if the viewers go out next time you're on a train station, if you actually stand on a platform, you'd be surprised how close the train actually gets before you actually hear it. The big trains have People think they're quite loud, but they're not. So when it comes to a level crossing, if people think, well, that barrier's only just come down, I might just have enough time to nip across.
No.
Don't do it. Always err on the side of caution. And what you find a lot of level crossings is a signal phone box now, so you can ring the signalman and say, when's the next train due, more of the rural areas.
Right.
But again, always look what you're doing first and err on the side of caution.
So never trying to fight with the train
Absolutely.
or anybody else. Once the barrier's coming down, stop.
There'll only be one win if you try to fight with the train.
Right. Because, I mean, trains are very fast and very heavy,
and
they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop, right? Well, thanks for that, because, I mean, people need to know, right? And I don't know, apart from the vandalism side of it, people do stupid things. I think, I mean, that's a very crude way of putting it. And people do it. They take chances and they play with fire, play with lives, right? So thank you for that, because I think level crossing is where there's a road and the lines coming across and the train goes there and the barrier come down, and people need to be very aware, especially the children and themselves. Don't go nowhere near, let the train pass, because the train will win. Yeah? Nikki, because, I mean, I think your role as a human resources is a role where I think could be a unthankful task, really, because you'd have to, you know, look at the recruitment side of it. You have to look the right candidates in there, and then obviously you have to make the decision end of the day. Because maybe just not only you, your team or whoever, but you are in the HR resources. Can you just take us through a little bit about the human resources, how they actually work? It's for your company, yes, but that's how it's globally, isn't it?
Throughout our business, we try to empower the managers to be really involved in the recruitment process, because it's their job. So they'll be managing that person. So we try to give them the toolkit to be able to select fairly and consistently as soon as they've got their application form right through to the interview. HR don't really sit on every single recruitment panel. We try to develop a panel which is operational knowledge, and we call them talent spotters.
Right.
So one that's got a broader understanding
that's
of
quite a train spotters and a talent spotter. Yeah, that's a nice way. And you will actually use another quite a line. It's not end of line or end of the line. So I think maybe you use it. Right? So you're quite good with these little phrases as well. Yeah, carry on. Sorry. Carry on.
So yeah, I don't know whether you, Steve, want to talk about recruitment and what do you see?
I think from a frontline perspective, like Nikki said, the local management team are empowered to basically make their own choices, because ultimately you're going to have to manage those people within the industry. So when the people do apply, you get to see the application forms, you get to sift out who you think is the right person for the right role, and then obviously you get to then sit them through a competency-based interview, and then from there, once you've decided who you would like that successful candidate to be, you'll hand them back over to Nikki's team, who will obviously then arrange your medical references, and as long as that's all satisfactory, then...
But does it, at any stage, comes a question, big question, right? There's 4 people applied for it, out of 2 like Serge's appearance or any ethnic appearance. Is there any concessions given, or do you just have to weigh on merits?
It's a bit of both, really. You're looking completely for suitability. So you want the right person for the right role, and it's regardless of the background, race or ethnic type. It's just you want the right person in that role, because ultimately whoever you choose is going to represent the organisation on your behalf.
Absolutely, yeah. Sergi, I think I was going to come to you on that issue, right? Okay, you went through a rigorous training, and you went through the psychometric, you went through everything to achieve where you are today.
That's right.
And you've done a good chunk of your life, 35 years, right? Where do you see you going from here now?
To be quite honest, if I cast myself back a little bit, I haven't spent all my life as a train driver, and before the Northern took the franchise, the franchise was awarded to the Riva Train Company.
Oh yes,
okay. And during the Riva Train, I was a driver, I'm a train instructor.
Okay.
Driver training instructor.
Right.
From there, then I got the grade as a driver training manager.
Right.
So what happened then? What happened then? The franchise took over by the Northern Rail, and when the two companies, because Northern already had the franchise to the west side, and then the east side, then two companies merged together, and they had their own instructors. So I then chose to come back as a train driver.
Right.
But I did go to into the managerial side of it, into the training side, and I was there for about nearly 6 years, which I really thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, and in the instructing side. There are rules, regulations, but they are also what you do, your own personal experience that you pass on to your new trainees. And you know, you do so many scenarios on the whiteboard.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then you say, right, this is that's what the rule book states. Yeah, these are the rules and regulation. But if you now turn the context into a different way onto the whiteboard, and they understand it very beautifully, you know, when you draw the certain schematics on this whiteboard.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. So I come back as a driver. I don't mind if there's opportunity comes up again for the driver instructor. I would be looking into it again. Yes.
Now that's where I was actually going to take you. I think the company can benefit. Community certainly can benefit from your experience.
Correctly.
I think obviously there's going to be future as a community at large, which takes on the indigenous. We are the indigenous as well. But what I'm saying is that, you know, I mean, people like you, pioneers I would call it, who's been there up front and done the job, and I think the company could probably benefit from that side, and obviously driver is going to be recruited, and if it was any people from the ethnic or any different grounds from the Sikh or Asian ground or the black and ethnic groups as we call it, right? So anybody there, I think that you could be the ideal person for that.
Yes. I mean, like I said, when I did this job before, I had a lot of respect. Not only that, because when Northern came, Northern had the two training schools, or academies we call them. One in the New York at that time, now it's been moved to Leeds, and one was in the West. And once I once covered a colleague because he was on the holidays or sickness, and I came to the West side for 1 week to cover the training section. And when I looked at their side of training, I enjoyed it, and they've enjoyed for me to pass my experience to them as well. So, you know, and I like to expand this, you know, a little bit. Yeah, it's not just the instructing experience that comes into it. Yeah.
Pardon my ignorance. Do you use Tom for the trains?
No, we don't. No, we don't. No, never. No. It's purely.
How do you know where you're going then?
It's purely down to the route knowledge. Yeah, every driver is given a fair chance to go over a certain route for a certain time, and after that, there's an assessment over it. And over that particular route, and the driver competency is measured on that assessment. And if he's competent, then and that driver is solely responsible for the route, or for day, night, fog or falling snow. He is totally in charge of that train, and whatever the weather is, his competency counts for the safety of himself and the passengers.
Before you communicate, I think I'm going to ask Steve. There's one topic we haven't covered. Is signalling.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Signalling is on, well, you've got different types of signalling on tracks. I won't bore you with the details, but basically it's so people can take the right routes. So when the driver's coming up to a signal, it'll show whatever aspect it's showing at the time to show which route they're going to be taking.
Is that the little lady speaks to him, turn left here?
That's the one, yes. That's the one.
If I can elaborate a little bit more than Steve. The signaling is, I mean, you can look at the signal. It's not just the red or the green light we look at. The signal itself can give you different route. You know, the one signal can display maybe 4 or 5 different routes, right? Maybe up to 7 routes depending on the area you're in. So the driver got to have the full knowledge which route he's going to, what aspect, not just the green, but there's something is associated with that green light as well, telling you which route he's going to. And that's why it's very paramount that he must not, you know, let his attention go AWOL. You know, I mean, he can't slip into dream world. You need to be constant all the time.
Can't end up in Preston and going to Leeds.
No, can't do that. No. If he does that, that's a big trouble.
Sorry, Nikki, you wanted to come in.
Yeah, I was just saying that in respect of Sergi and other members of the Northern Ethnicity in Action group that we've got, which is 6 people, I see them all as role models for the business, and we promote those guys as such in the Northern magazine, So anybody who's new to the business or anybody who's within the business who need to have a chat about how they feel being an underrepresented group within the business, they can phone any of these guys and they can share their experience.
I think before I actually thank you for coming in, I'm going to ask Sergi to speak a bit in Punjabi and on the closing stages, a message to the community, right? Okay. You as a train driver, fully pledged Sikh, right? And how you came in, what message would you give to the audience if they wanted to join in?
Yes, okay. मैं अपने दर्शकों ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਝਿਜਕੋ ਨਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰੋ। ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਨਾਰਥਰਨ ਰੇਲ ਦੀ .career ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰੋ ਆਪਣਾ ਆਪ ਸਾਰਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਫਾਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਭਰੋ। ਇਹ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਸ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੱਲੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੰਡਰ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟੇਟਿਵ ਹਾਂ, ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਥੋੜੇ ਕਾ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ। ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਇੱਕ ਨਿਮਾਣਾ ਉੱਤੇ ਫਿਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਸਿੰਘ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਭਾਈ, ਮੇਰੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਾਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਭੈਣ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਆਵੇ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰੋ। ਵੀ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫੇਅਰ ਐਂਡ ਚਾਂਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਓ, ਝਿਜਕੋ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਗੱਲ ਤੋਂ। ਇਹ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟਸ ਨੇ, ਇਕੱਲੇ ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਡਰਾਈਵਿੰਗ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ 'ਚ ਜਾਣਾ ਵਾ ਜਾਂ ਅਕਾਊਂਟੈਂਸੀ, ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟ ਹੈਗਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹਦੀ ਇੰਜੀਨੀਅਰਿੰਗ ਸਾਈਡ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ, ਕੰਡਕਟਰਸ ਨੇ, ਟਿਕਟ ਸੈਲਿੰਗ ਨੇ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇਨਫੋਰਮੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, ਕਿਤੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਦਿਲ ਕਰਦਾ, ਜਿਸ ਚੀਜ਼ 'ਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਤਾ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਾਬਲੀਅਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਕੰਮ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਖੁੱਲ੍ਹ ਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੇ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਫੇਅਰ ਚਾਂਸ ਦੇਵੇਗੀ, ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਓ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ, ਆਓ ਵਾਧਾ ਕਰੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਟ੍ਰੇਨ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਕੇ। ਮੈਂ ਹੀ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ।
What would you like to say about the Sikh Channel?
Sikh Channel, I've been watching it ever since it's been launched. I love it. The subjects are very diverse, and I love this channel, and for that I like to thank the Sikh Channel, because when I approached the Sikh Channel, I said this is our commitment, we want to come on, and they gave us a very fair chance, and we are here now only with and I said I haven't got enough words to say how grateful we are to the Sikh Channel. And
thank you very much, Sergi. I think just to sum it up, Nikki and Stephen, what he's actually said is talked about the recruitment side of your company, or if anybody wants to go to any railway company for that matter, and that's what he's talked about. What would you like to say finally?
I'd just like to say that apply online, have a look, see what we've got available, because I really would welcome your application. And again, I just wanted to thank you so much for inviting us here today.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen.
Can I just echo Nikki's comments? Anyone who wants to join the rail industry, go on to northernrail.org, have a look at our live careers page, and if there's anything that interests you, apply.
Well, Stephen, Nikki, Sergi, thank you very much for coming. Sikh Channel ਦੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕੋ, ਇਹ ਸਨ ਨਾਰਥਰਨ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਦੇ ਰਿਪਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟੇਟਿਵ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਦੀ ਸਾਈਡ ਦੱਸੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਬੜੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਾਰਥ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਰੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਅਪ ਐਂਡ ਡਾਊਨ ਦ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀਆਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੰਪਨੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਆਪਰੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੀ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ। ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੇਲਵੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸਰਜੀਤ ਨੂੰ ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਅਪਰੋਚ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ 'ਤੇ ਇਹ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਅਵੇਲੇਬਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ। ਸੋ Nikki, Stephen, Sergi, thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you.
And today it's been a pleasure talking to you guys, talking about the railway. And I think that I've obviously learned quite a few things which I didn't know. It's not just stepping onto the train and going from A to B. There's a lot involved to running the franchise.
Yeah.
And thank you very much again for coming here. And if there is any future time you want to come and obviously say a few more things, you're most welcome. From behalf of the Sikh Channel, I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, ਪਿਆਰੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕੋ, ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਹੈ। ਕਿਸੇ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀ ਗਲਤੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਮਾਫ ਕਰ ਦੇਣਾ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਕਰਦਾ। ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਨੂੰ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ। ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਵਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਪੇਸ਼ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਸੋ ਅਗਲੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਫਿਰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦਿਓ, ਫਿਰ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹੋਵਾਂਗਾ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।